Welcome to Suthichai Live English Podcast. What is happening to the negotiations between Thailand and the USA on the new Trump tariffs is getting quite tough for the Thai side, not knowing exactly what kind of concessions are really required by the American side. And we don't know whether the August 1st deadline is firm or whether it is still flexible. But if we focus on the real issue and look into the demands from Washington for Thailand to address basically not only the tariff rates, but also trade barriers, what is called the non-tariff barriers, NTB. There is this article which highlights the US decision to impose a 36% tariff on Thai goods effective August 1st, which is included in the National Trade Estimate Report, NTE report. At the same time, we will have to look into the key issues cited by the US, which include high Thai agricultural tariffs, import restrictions on certain goods, such as pork, and also lax intellectual property enforcement and laws that disadvantage foreign investors. Thailand's finance ministry has proposed new duty-free import offers, but experts warn of a challenging negotiation given the many countries also seeking trade concessions from the US. So let's get Ping and Pong to dig into the issues that have been raised by the American side to the Thai negotiation team. Hi, Ping and Pong.
Welcome to Suthichai Live English Podcast.
I am Ping.
And I am Paul.
We are Suthichai's AI team of commentators.
Okay, let's get right into it. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something pretty significant unfolding in U.S.-Thailand trade relations.
Yeah, we're talking about President Trump's recent confirmation that hefty 36% tariff on Thai goods.
Exactly. And we've got the actual U.S. Trade Representatives report here, the USTR report.
That's right. And this report, it's really the key to understanding why this is happening now. You know, what the U.S. actually wants from Thailand.
And what it all means, really, for Thailand's economy. That's kind of our mission today, isn't it? To unpack all these layers for you.
Absolutely, because, you know, this isn't just a tariff pulled out of thin air.
No, it feels like a culmination, like the result of issues that have been simmering for quite a while.
Years, really. So we want to pull back the curtain on that history, look at the specific complaints.
And maybe explore what Thailand needs to do, realistically, to navigate this whole situation.
Okay, so let's start with the immediate pressure point, the deadline.
Right. July 7th, 2025. That's when President Trump made it official. The 36% tariff is coming.
And the deadline for implementation is August 1st, which, I mean, that's really just around the corner.
Very soon. And this isn't just the political theater.
No, not at all. This has real economic teeth. We're seeing experts warn that, well, if these talks fail...
Thailand's economy could actually shrink by like 1% this year.
At least 1%, yeah. That's a serious potential impact.
So the big question then is, how ready is Thailand? What are they doing?
Well, we did hear from Thailand's Deputy Finance Minister, Levaron Sangsnit. That was on July 9th.
And he announced they've set aside funds, right? Something like 50 billion baht?
Exactly, 50 billion baht, which translates to about, 1.36 billion US dollars?
Okay, so that's split between emergency funds and reserves.
Yeah, 10 billion baht ready for immediate emergency use, and then 40 billion held in reserve. So it shows they're definitely bracing themselves.
Taking it seriously.
Very seriously. But the core of the U.S. position, the justification for all this, it comes back to that specific document.
The National Trade Estimate Report on Foreign Trade Barriers, the NTE report.
That's the one. Dr. Suphat Sechua, who advises the Thai PM, confirmed it. He said basically all the U.S. demands are detailed right there in that report.
And that report went to President Trump and Congress back on March 31st, 2025.
Correct. So this whole thing is, very directly tied to the administration's America First trade policy.
So the report essentially serves as the official justification for the tariffs. It lays out the U.S. case, ranking trade barriers globally.
Precisely. It's their evidence, so to speak.
Okay, so one thing that jumps out is the number itself, 36%. Why so high? I mean, compared to other countries, maybe.
That's a really good question, and the report does address that. It basically points to two main things for Thailand specifically.
Which are?
First, a more severe trade deficit with the U.S. compared to others, like, say, Malaysia or Indonesia.
Okay, the deficit. And second,
and maybe more importantly, what the U.S. sees as more pronounced, more entrenched trade barriers from Thailand, long-standing ones.
right. Let's touch on the trade relationship size first, though. The U.S. is Thailand's 19th largest partner, right?
Yeah, and Thailand is a pretty key export market for the U.S. The total trade in 2023 was $75.3 billion.
So it's a significant relationship, financially speaking.
Definitely. But that relationship has been, imbalanced for a while, that trade deficit we mentioned.
The one driving the higher tariff justification.
Yeah, it hit $45 billion US dollars in 2023. That's a big number.
Huge.
But, while the deficit is clearly a factor, the NTE report keeps coming back to the deeper issues.
The policies and laws in Thailand.
Exactly. Policies the U.S. sees as non-universal, creating unfair conditions. And the point is, these aren't new complaints.
It's been building up for a long time.
Over 2 decades, according to the report, even though they have that Trade and Investment Framework Agreement, the TIFA, from 2002.
So the TIFA hasn't really solved these underlying problems in the U.S. view.
Apparently not. It feels like there's this accumulated frustration that these issues haven't been properly addressed over all that time.
Okay, so if that's the background, let's dig into the USTR report itself. What are these specific barriers the U.S. is pointing to?
Right, we can break it down. The first major category is about high tariffs and inconsistent customs practices.
Okay, high tariffs. What are we talking about there?
Well, Thailand's average most favored nation, or MFN, tariff rate is 9.8%. Which, is already relatively high.
But it gets worse for certain sectors.
Significantly worse for agriculture. That sector faces an average tariff of 27%. Compare that to just 7.1% for non-agricultural products.
Wow, that's a huge difference, 27%.
It really is. And then beyond just the rates, there's the customs issue.
Right, you mentioned inconsistencies. Even with new systems.
Yeah, even with things like the electronic national single window and participation in the trade facilitation agreement, the report says U.S. companies still face unpredictable customs valuation.
Which means unexpected costs and delays, I imagine.
Exactly. And tied into this is something the U.S. raises as a big transparency concern.
What's that?
It's this award system within Thailand's customs department.
An award system for customs officers.
Yeah, it basically incentivizes officers. They can get 20% of the fine collected or up to 5 million baht from goods they seize.
Whoa, that sounds open to potential issues.
Well, yeah. The U.S. argues that even though it supposedly requires proof of fraudulent intent, this kind of system could, encourage overly aggressive or even unfair investigations.
It creates a potential conflict of interest, maybe. Undermines trust.
That seems to be the core concern. It adds uncertainty and cost for businesses trying to play by the rules.
Okay, so that's tariffs and customs. What's the next major area in the report?
The next big one is policies that favor domestic producers, particularly, and this is a recurring theme, in agriculture.
Right, you mentioned agriculture tariffs were high. This goes beyond just tariffs.
Oh, yeah. The report talks about what the U.S. considers excessive and often scientifically unsupported trade barriers. Actual prohibitions in some cases.
Like what, for example?
Well, take ethanol. Thailand banned imports of ethanol made from corn and other biofuels way back in 2005.
Why?
The stated reason was to protect domestic producers, but the U.S. position is that this keeps ethanol prices higher in Thailand than they need to be.
And it clashes with international trade ideas, maybe?
And U.S. renewable energy policies, yeah. It's seen as protectionist.
Okay. What else in agriculture? I feel like pork comes up a lot in these discussions.
It definitely does. That's a major, major sticking point. Thailand restricts imported pork if the pigs were raised using ractopamine.
Even though there's an international standard for it.
Exactly. The Codex Alimentarius Commission, which sets international food standards, established a safe maximum residue limit, an MRL, for ractopamine back in 2012.
But Thailand doesn't accept that standard.
Nope. And that refusal specifically was the reason the U.S. revoked Thailand's GSP trade benefits back in December 2020.
Ah, so there's a direct link there. That GSP revocation cost Thailand quite a bit, didn't it?
Hundreds of millions of dollars a year in lost benefits. So yeah, it was a significant consequence.
Are there other examples like the pork issue?
Yeah, similar story with beef offal treated with beta agonists. Again, Codex has approved standards, but Thailand restricts it.
And poultry too.
Poultry, yeah. There's been a blanket ban on U.S. chicken and turkey since 2014. That was due to highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI outbreaks.
But the U.S. argument is that a blanket ban isn't necessary.
Right. The World Organization for Animal Health, WOAH, recommends more targeted area-specific restrictions, not nationwide bans, especially when outbreaks are contained.
So it feels like a pattern of Thailand applying stricter rules than international standards suggest.
That's certainly the picture the USTR report paints, and it even extends to processed meats now.
Like sausages and bacon.
Yeah. In 2018, the Department of Livestock Development, the DLD, expanded its oversight to cover those. But the problem is, as of late 2024, they still hadn't published clear import requirements.
Leading to just delays and uncertainty for exporters.
Exactly. Frustrating delays. And it's not just those specific products. The report mentions other issues, too.
Like what?
Like new unclear regulations for infant food that were apparently implemented in June 2024 before the public comment period even ended.
Oof, that doesn't sound great for stakeholder input.
No, it signals a potential disregard for feedback. Plus, you've got complaints about cumbersome licensing, things called tariff rate quotas or TRQs.
What do those do?
They can effectively force importers to buy a certain amount of Thai product first before they can import.
Ah, another domestic preference mechanism.
Pretty much. And then there are these food quality assessment fees that can be quite expensive, and the DLD apparently has the power to increase them 5 times over.
So it's a whole range of hurdles in the agricultural sectors.
It really seems like a complex web, yeah.
Okay, moving beyond agriculture, what about intellectual property, IP rights?
Right. That's another persistent challenge highlighted in the report, intellectual property infringement.
Now, Thailand did join some WIPO treaties recently, didn't they, in 2023?
They did, the copyright and performance treaties. But despite that step, the U.S. Special 301 report for 2024 still keeps Thailand on its watch list.
Still on the watch list. Why is that? What are the main concerns?
2 big things, mainly. Ongoing online copyright infringement.
Like illegal streaming.
Yeah, illegal streaming boxes, apps, that sort of thing. And secondly, just the widespread availability of counterfeit goods.
Physical counterfeit goods.
Yes. The report specifically calls out places like Bangkok's MBK Center, again, as a known market for fakes.
So enforcement is still seen as lacking, basically.
That seems to be the core issue. It harms U.S. businesses directly, obviously, but it also kind of damages the overall environment for innovation there.
Are there other IP issues beyond piracy and counterfeits?
Yeah, the report also mentions concerns about slow patent registration processes, things taking too long, and also ineffective data exclusivity. That's about protecting clinical trial data for pharmaceuticals, and just generally lengthy, drawn-out civil court cases for IP disputes.
So taken together, it paints a picture of a system that doesn't offer strong enough protection.
That's the U.S. perspective, yes. A system that doesn't adequately protect IP rights, making it less attractive for, say, tech or creative industries.
Got it. Okay, what's the final major category of barriers in the report?
The last big section focuses on laws unfavorable to foreign investment and services. This is really about market access for U.S. companies.
How so? What are the main points here?
Well, one key area is government procurement, buying goods and services for the government.
Okay.
The U.S. points out that Thailand isn't a signatory to the World Trade Organization's Government Procurement Agreement, the GPA.
And what does that mean in practice?
It means the system often gives preferential treatment to domestic Thai companies. So foreign firms, including U.S. ones, are often at a disadvantage when they try to bid on government contracts.
Right, they don't have the same level playing field guarantees.
Exactly. And this ties into broader restrictions on foreign investment generally.
Like the Foreign Business Act.
That's the main one, from 1999. It puts limits on how much foreigners can own in many types of businesses, often capped at 49% foreign shareholding.
49%. So not majority control in many sectors.
Correct. And beyond the ownership caps, there are also complaints about slow and non-transparent processes for getting licenses approved, which just adds more uncertainty for investors.
Can we look at some specific sector examples? like finance.
Sure. In finance and investment, that 49% foreign ownership limit generally applies. And notably, Thailand hasn't actually issued any new licenses for foreign banks since way back in 2013.
Wow, okay. What about insurance?
Even stricter there. Foreign ownership is limited to just 25% and overall investment to 49%.
And telecom.
Telecommunications, also capped at 25% foreign ownership.
So these are pretty significant restrictions across key service sectors.
They really are. Even in things like media and film, it's a 25% foreign ownership cap.
What about the digital space? E-commerce, online platforms.
That's another area of concern. Thailand's Computer Crime Act gives the government quite broad powers to control online content.
How does that affect foreign companies?
Well, it's a big concern for digital service providers. There are provisions where they might have to remove content very quickly, sometimes within just 24 hours, or face pretty severe penalties if they don't comply.
That sounds like a major operational risk and potentially impacts free expression too.
Both. It creates a challenging environment for online platforms operating in Thailand.
Okay, so pulling all this together, this 36% tariff, it really isn't just a random number, is it?
Not at all. When you look at the USTR report, it becomes clear it's positioned as a direct consequence of this whole long list of issues.
Right. High tariffs, those agricultural barriers, the IP problems, the limits on foreign investment. That's a lot.
It's a buildup over many years, and now it seems to have reached a breaking point from the U.S. perspective.
And we should remember, the U.S. has used trade pressure on Thailand before, right?
Yeah.
It's not the first time.
Absolutely not. There's clear precedent. They revoked Thailand's GSP benefits twice in recent memory.
GSP being the Generalized System of Preferences, offering lower tariffs.
Correct. First time was April 2020. That was related to labor rights issues.
Okay.
And then again in December 2020, specifically over that ractopamine pork issue we talked about.
And those revocations had real financial consequences for Thailand.
Oh, yeah. Hundreds of millions of dollars annually in lost trade advantages. So the U.S. has shown it's willing to use these tools and impose costs.
So for you, the listener, what this deep dive really shows is that the situation is now, well, pretty critical for Thailand.
The ball is very much in Thailand's court, as they say. The U.S. has laid out its demands, repeatedly asking for changes to align with international standards and open markets more.
And the big question, the multi-billion-dollar question maybe, is whether the Thai government can actually resolve these really complex, deep-rooted problems before that August 1st deadline.
It's a huge challenge, especially in such a short time frame, to avoid the full impact of these tariffs.
It really highlights the fundamental tension we see globally, doesn't it?
It really does. This challenge Thailand is facing, it's kind of a snapshot of a bigger issue.
How do countries balance protecting their own industries,
Yeah.
their own laws?
With the demands from trading partners for what they see as fairness, international standards, and open market access.
It's a delicate and often difficult balancing act.
And it's a tension that's likely going to keep shaping global trade and economic relationships for, well, the foreseeable future.
Absolutely. It's something we'll definitely keep watching. Thank you for following Suthichai Live English Podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you, Ping and Pong. And this is where Thailand is really trying very hard to understand the complaints from the American side, at the same time to offer concessions that will not too seriously affect Thai farmers and Thai industries. That is a very serious tightrope walking strategy for Thailand. Stay tuned for the next Suthichai Live English Podcast. Until then, bye-bye.